Hi, Joe here at Woolly Cottage. I do apologise, it's been a while since I've done a video. As everyone knows, I've been fulfilling my Christmas Advent orders and it literally just took over nearly the full month of October. So I do apologise, I am back. Maybe not as many as every week videos, but I'm still doing my live chats. Videos I will announce as and when I get a chance to make them, because it's getting to that time of year now that everyone's starting to slow down. I'm starting to slow down. So if I come up with something, I will get it out there. It might end up just being two. Excuse the dog. She's only allowed in here, yes, and you, and Iona. She's only allowed in here when I'm not working, and we're officially off day today. Well, I should be dying, but I've just had to do fluff rescue orders and a secret squirrel. So we're just up in the room. So I thought, what I would do today, because it's been a while. It's been a while, girls. I'm going to do a bit of core spinning down Scardie. I'm going to do a bit of core spinning, and it's one of the bats from my website that was from the Tour de Fleece, and it's sat on there for ages. Okay, so I've just divided it and braided it up so I can spin it straight from there, and it's a gradient bat with, I think it was neon dyes I used in this. I can't quite remember. It's been that long since I did it. And I've actually got some matching locks. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use the locks. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the locks. I think I might leave the locks to one side because I've looked out some wooden beads. And these are really simple to use. They're nice, big, chunky hexagon beads. And I can literally just thread my yarn through it when I start to spin it up in the ply. You get nice lumpy bumpy bits. So I'm just going to do a bit of meditative spinning today. Scardie, stop it. Tips I will mention and maybe break in between bits of music. Any tips that you might not know, or you're like, oh, do you know, I forgot about that. So yeah, I'm just going to literally spin away. If you've got any questions, leave them at the bottom in the chat below in the box. I think it's this end I can start at. No, I think it's my green end. Do you know what? There's the only thing about it, when you forget which end you finished off on braiding. So it's this end I've got to do first. It's like a lovely olive green, but there's hints of purples and everything else in there. And there's silk in there and some glitter as well. And I'll be popping this on the website later on once I've got it set. Flipping dog. Right, so I'm going to go on to doing this, and I will stop in a bit for any tips that you might find interesting. I am using 100% very thin yarn. I've got hundreds of this stuff. I think it only cost me about £5 from World of Wool when I went off on a pilgrimage to theirs a couple of years ago, and I've had it for years. Right, this dog's driving me demented, so if it looks like the air's going blue, it's because I'm telling the flipping dog off. Right, so yeah, I'll get on with this, and I will catch you in a few minutes.
You melt the ice behind my stone cold eyes. I turn to ashes, but only just sometimes. Inhale your smoke, but you still act surprised. It's not my fault when we end up capsized. You call me crazy now, but you don't understand. I'm calling out to you. Can you hear a thing? 'Cause you lit the match that ignites the flame. I'm the TNT, but you're the spark to blame. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain. Feel the fire, heat that melts us down again. Now it's pouring through my veins, but I said you're the spark to blame. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain. I know some days with you it's paradise, but now you spin me in a web with all your just want you to feel the way I feel inside. I'm reaching out for help, you got me in a riptide. You call me crazy now, but you don't understand. I'm calling out to you, can you hear a thing? Cause you lit the match, it ignites the flame. I'm the TNT, but you're the spark to blame. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain. Feel the fire, heat that melts us down again. Now it's pouring through my veins, but I said you're the spark to blame. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain. Change my fate, yeah, please just blow this flame away. And I hold on for rainy days. It feels like a decade, just please come and save me. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain. Feel the fire, heat that melts us down again. Now it's pouring through my veins, but I said you're the spark to blame. And it's fire, burning holes inside my brain.
Okay, so what you want to do in your hand, you're literally pinching and pulling, okay? So you pinch and you pull, and you put the core fibre running through your hand, and you grip it with your fingers, and you've got two angles really. So come down a little bit, don't go straight up, come down a little on your eye line of the yarn, and then bring this down to a, what would you call that? It would be, I'm trying to think of the angle. I mean, that's a 90-degree angle. That would be a 45-degree angle or thereabouts. And that angle there, just sloping and dragging the fibre, will cover your core yarn, okay? And you'll have a nice thin, more or less straightforward line all the way along. Now, if you want lumpy thumpy bits, pull larger sections, come back a little bit more with your hand because the fibres are so long, and let them come in at a right angle onto your core, and then they'll just pull through. Hold on a second, I've got myself tangled up here. Okay, so I'll do that again. I might have to bring you around the other side so you can see exactly what it is I'm doing. So if you want it to have a nice even coverage, more or less all the way down, try and keep it at a slight angle, more of a triangle coming down, and that will cover your wool. But don't do it too much, otherwise your thread will come through. If you come straight down like that, you want to just like that a bit. Roughly, I would say it's about a 30-degree angle, okay? If you want it thicker, come in more of a right angle to the side. There we go. And just let it sit on the top, and you'll end up with larger sections, larger, lumpier, bumpier. And I just lift my hand up a little bit on the eye line of my yarn going in. So, or you can go in at that angle if you feel more comfortable with it, and then just keep drafting. You pinch with your finger and your thumb and just keep pulling it out until it's covered all the yarn. Don't worry about it being lumpy like that, because you're going to ply it with your core yarn in a minute, unless you've got a really, really pretty one or a boucle yarn in your stash, so it doesn't matter if it shows through or not. Okay, but I want these sections really, really thick, because mostly because my bobbin's starting to fill up now, and I want all this yarn, all this fibre on this core. So I'm just going to do some nice big thick pieces. I do apologise about the light. It's lunchtime, it's pouring down with rain. I've had to put this bright selfie light on because the other one's too orange. See, now you've got a nice big lumpy bit there. The house is really, really dark. So we don't get a lot of light in here at the best of times, but I've usually got a bit better light than this, but there is absolutely atrocious weather outside today. So you just play about with your angles and the positioning of your drafting as you're coming down. Everyone's got their own ways on, the way that they feel more comfortable in doing it. So I'm just going to let that catch, nice big thick piece on a 30-degree angle, and my yarn, you can see I'm sloping down, and I'm just going to draft out some more wispy bits. There's another thick piece there, just catch that. Some more there, and I'm just going to keep on going like this until I've finished, which I'm nearly done now. And don't worry if you seem to get a section where it's really, really thin. You can just literally pick up your yarn and just attach it in whatever it is that you feel needs a bit more wool on it. Hold on a second, I just need to move my guides down a bit because it's starting to fill up there. See, I've just lost it then. So you literally just pinch it and the energy will grab a hold of that fibre for you. There we go. Right, so I'll catch you in a bit when I get to the plying stage.
Baby, read the fine print. I've got baggage and it's all Gucci. Don't get too attached to me. Everybody act like the answer. One love like in the movies. Wasting precious time assuming. What we made to fall. No, I'm not lonely when solo and solely exploring what I need. Cause dozens of times I swear that I knew when the wisdom was scanty. Doesn't mean I was broken so open, I gave it till empty. Got it all back by myself, no nobody can tempt me. If I better off alone, breathe in, embrace it on my own. Can't keep making exits from the pressure. Lessons after lessons, had to question these glaring design flaws. Can't keep love built from a love song. No, I'm not only with solo and solely exploring what I need. Cause dozens of times I swear that I knew when the wisdom was scanty. Doesn't mean I was broken so open. I gave it. And if I'm better off alone, breathe in, embrace it on my own. And if I'm better off alone, breathe in, embrace it on my own, on my own.
So I've just threaded all these hexagons. This one's wrapped up. I don't know how it's managed to do that. Onto the same yarn. On sec. The same yarn that I have just core spun with. I'm just going to undo this. There we go. That's better. And then what I'll do is I'll literally just leave them on the yarn as I'm spinning, and I will reach down for one, drag it up the thread, and then spin it into the yarn as I'm plying it. I just find that's an easy method. Sometimes I'll put the beads onto the actual core yarn, and then they'll pop through as I'm spinning along. So just stick my plying yarn in there, just find the end of, there we go, the end of that I've just spun up. Just a nice chunky full bobbin that you've just seen me do. I might actually stick it at the side of me in case the rat fink comes in. And I need to go in the opposite direction to which I spun in, which is that way around. Excuse my noisy wheel. There we go. Sometimes I've just got to put my feet in the right direction. So I literally put my finger on there and let the yarn, and I tilt it down a little bit, ever so much, so it's not a straight line going in. That just helps me with my balance of it. And then I'll come in at a right angle, and then it can help create these lumpy bumpy bits on the yarn, and you just have to force that in sometimes, just like, come on, in you go. And then it should all just, once it's stuck on something, it just doesn't want to go. There we go, should be a bit better. And I'm going to grab one of these now. I'm going to put that there and wrap that around. It should. Maybe I've just not got, there we go. I just had no tension in my scotch, that's all that was. I've got a nice lump piece here. This is stuck on the blanket. Make sure your space is clear of animals and creatures and blankets, people. So it's still a bit of energy in there, so I'm just going to tease that down until it evens itself up. There we go. And she's off again. I'll add in one of the beads again in a second. See, because they're so big, they will just literally pop back down. You can use, I mean, there's nothing to say that you can't use sewing thread, a little bobbin of sewing thread, especially if you're using small glass beads. I've used them before, like milfoil beads or smoked glass beads, and thread them onto your sewing thread, and you can apply both of them at the exact same time. When you're doing this, you can have your main core wool and then go in. Hold on a sec, I'm just going to push that up there a bit. There we go. And then you can add your beads as you go along. And the little bobbin of sewing thread can sit in your lap or in a little bowl at the side of you even, so it doesn't bounce around too much. I'm just going to pull up one of these beads again and wrap that around. There we go. Clunky, clunky, clunky. Just take your time with it. don't overdo it with your beads, because especially if you're going to use the art yarn to sell on your at a market or whatever you do, if you do too many beads, you're actually putting the cost up of your yarn, and sometimes it just looks silly if there's too much. A lot of people use these art yarns for doing dream catchers, so the beads just help create an extra tasseling or finishing for somebody's project. Or in a art weaving, you can use art yarns in modern weaving, and the beads just help enunciate a design that you've got going. It saves that person having to stitch in beads later on. A second, I've got myself stuck. There we go. Just go back in. Nope. Do you know, sometimes I try my own patience. Right, I'm going to grab one of these beads. I've got a fuchsia pink one here, and push them back down. Okay, and off again. There we go. I'll just balance the yarn on the end of my finger. Just come down a little bit of more of an angle than straight up. It just helps the yarn to purchase and to sit really nice, so you end up with more of a spiral. But this yarn's still coming at a right angle. It's the hand that I'm using to hold my plying yarn or my core yarn. There you go. Oh, I got stuck. Needed a bit more core yarn off the big cone there. Right angle, but I've got my hand tilted down. You can see that on the video screen, that I've actually at an angle from my orifice, and it just gives you a little bit more control. There we go. And it feels a little bit easier on my shoulder as well, because I'm not all up here, I'm down here. So we get some really nice spirals out of this yarn now. It's looking really nice. So I'm going to get on with doing the rest of this, and I will meet you at the end when I get it on the knitting yoddy and steam set it. Okay. excuse the noise, I'm just boiling up my little travel kettle that has a steam attachment on the top of it. And this is how I set all my hand spun yarns. If I want to use them really quickly and I feel like I just don't want to wait till the next day for it to all dry after washing it, or if you're new to spinning out yarns and you feel a little bit anxious about washing it in the sink in case it loses all its lumps and bumps, use a kettle. Your standard kettle downstairs, let it boil away, and the steam will set it the exact same way as it does on here and as it would if it was being washed. And then actually what you'll actually see is the magic. The magic. This is the bit that you miss out on when you're washing it in the sink. Is when you steam set this, all the energy that's still left inside this yarn from your spinning will all start to tighten up, and it will all shrink out the energy that's still left in the yarn, and that is it setting and semi-felting. Not a felt, it's not felting at all. What it is that the fibres are all going to knot together and they'll stick and hold their own. So I'll point you down and you can see, I'll actually try and bring the kettle over so you can see where it is that I'm doing. I'm going to tilt you down now, okay? Okay. So I literally just put the fibres, can you see that turning? What I'll do in a minute is I will grab the camera so you can see from my point of view that the steam is going through the yarn and it's making it move and tighten up the energy that's still inside. And you can just see it ever so slowly moving, just to hold it in place for a little bit. Make sure if you're going to do this, do it on a plastic, not on a plastic niddy noddy, on a wooden niddy noddy, because the steam will melt. So I'm just trying to get it at an angle that you can actually see. Right. Now I've already done that side, so I'll do this bottom bit here. And this big one, that big lump there, all setting up, all tightening because of the steam. Do this side. Is there any energy left in this bit? There we go. Hey, isn't it? There's something else. I'll just flip the noddy over. Think. Yeah, that's that done. So there we go, on hand spun yarn. I will leave that now just for the moisture that's been created on the steam just to settle and dry off before I get that photographed and on the website. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. 1 second, I'll just turn the camera around. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I will get back to doing them a bit more regularly, definitely in the new year. I will try my best to get some more out before Christmas, but I do have my Christmas Advents out in December, so there's a daily Vlogmas throughout every day until the 24th, and then I've got a special that should be for the Christmas day, but I'm uploading it on Boxing Day when everybody's all sat there stuffed, they've had enough, they just want to chill out for the rest of the day. So that will be available to watch. Yeah, so that's it. So please do hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget, most Wednesdays at lunchtime about 1 o'clock I do a live chat as well. You're more than welcome to come over and join me, have a bit of a natter, what I've been up to, that sort of thing. If not, you'll find me on Saturday afternoons about the same time over on Instagram. I'm there most weekends, or probably every Saturday, unless something creeps up, which is always the way, isn't it? So anyway, you take care of yourselves. If you can't take care of yourself, at least don't get caught being mischievous. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.